and Thanksgiving looks pretty good. Lauren?
Speaking of Thanksgiving, Jeff, 'tis the season to stay calm and carry on. But how do you do that when personality clashes and conflicts seem to surface every year? Don't let unpleasant relatives or guests at your dinner party put a damper on the festivities. Former Marine Eric Rittmeyer is an expert in the field of mental toughness and emotional intelligence. In fact, he even wrote a book called The Emotional Marine: 68 Mental Toughness and Emotional Intelligence Secrets to Make Anyone Instantly Like You. He's here to share ways with us to cope with difficult people during this time of year. Eric, we need these tips.
We do need these tips.
Right?
People are very, very difficult, and people are very annoying, especially family.
I know. So we go to dinner, and sometimes there's guests that we don't even know are going to be there, and they start asking you questions that you feel like aren't quite your business. And you have to kind of cope and deal with all these personalities at the table.
It's all about remaining in control of your emotions, and as humans, we're not good at that.
We're not.
So people say things, it triggers us, and before we know it, we get this an emotional state of mind, and we start responding emotionally. And when we do that, we say things we regret, we're maybe a little bit mean, we maybe come across as a knee-jerk reaction. We have to control the emotion.
So we're going to take some tips from your book, just a few of them. Your first one, take time to respond instead of reacting.
Yeah, there's a difference there when you react as opposed to respond. So a reaction is more of an emotional-based, very quick, knee-jerk, react, as opposed to respond. You're able to think logically and formulate a response that maybe wouldn't be as offensive or come across as being snappy with somebody.
Another one of your tips is to stay calm in volatile situations. So how can you do that if someone sort of like hits a nerve with you or you know, touches on one of your triggers?
Pre-game with some alcohol, so you're a little loose, and it works out great. It's understanding the triggers, so it's knowing you have to go into these events kind of like pre-gaming to say, okay, who's going to be there? What might they say? And if they do say A, B, or C, how am I going to respond to it? So you have a chance to kind of run that through your mind so you have an appropriate response as opposed to being caught off guard.
I do like that, because if you're self-aware and you know what's going to annoy you and then you know how to respond, they can't really get under your skin.
Emphasis on self-aware, which is a huge emotional intelligence secret. You
lot
are
of
high in
people.
EQ. I knew it, Lauren. I knew it.
I like this one. Suspend your disbeliefs. Explain that one.
We live at a time where we cannot have an opposing point of view.
Yeah.
It's just impossible. The minute you disagree with me, you dislike me just because we don't agree. Suspending a disbelief is basically setting aside your thoughts on something and saying, I'm going to hear you out. I'm going to respect your opinion. I'm going to listen to you. At the end, I might still disagree with you. I probably will disagree with you, but I'm going to give you your chance to say what you have to say.
And then the final one we already touched on, which is know your triggers. A lot of people, at least for me, Eric, it becomes, you're 38, you're not married, you don't have kids. What's wrong with you is the question, right?
Do you really need another plate of food?
Right. It's a lot of things that you're just like, did you really just ask me that?
Yeah.
But like you said, it's knowing your triggers so you don't get triggered.
Absolutely correct.
I love that. How long were you a Marine?
Just 4 years.
4 years. Thanks for
years.
your service. Of course, it's important.
Love our military. Anybody who wears a uniform gets every ounce of my respect. I love our military.
We're going to keep you around because you've been in some experienced situations to know how to deal with dinner guests or people at parties that sometimes don't behave properly. So you're going to help us talk that out, okay?
Love it.
Stick around with us.
Awesome.
All right. Next, we're going to go over some common mistakes, as I just said with Eric, made by guests and the host during the holiday season. So we need to figure out how to navigate that space. We'll do it after lottery numbers.
Limited till it broke up and it rained down. It rained down like.
All right, former Marine and mental toughness expert Eric Rittmeyer still with us. So we're going to go over some common mistakes made by guest and host during the holiday season. We have a few days till Thanksgiving, so a lot of these situations and scenarios are going to play out, not just at the Thanksgiving dinner table, but at holiday parties that are going to happen over the next few weeks. Is it really bad, would you say, to arrive empty-handed? Even if someone says, Eric, oh, don't worry about it, just show up, would you arrive empty-handed?
I've done that a few times, actually. So inadvertently, I did that and didn't realize I was doing it. I'm just a bad person like that.
No.
I think you have to go back to the source of the person and whether or not it's intentional. If they just deliberately show up like, I'm not bringing anything, you know, where are the bonbons? But if it's the source of the person, it's considering the person who's doing it. Is it meant to be intentional or is it just, I'm clueless?
Because I don't think you ever can. Even when a person says you don't have to bring anything, my safe thing to do is always bring at least a bottle of wine.
I agree with that.
I feel like it's just a safe thing to do. Even if they don't drink it, they have it on their bar for other guests who might come to the party.
You're welcome at my house anytime.
I like that. Mama trained me well. All right, how to deal with a guest that's bringing other people without asking.
That's tough. I mean, you talk about disrespect 101. I think you hit it before the break. You talked about self-awareness.
Yes.
So someone who's high in emotional intelligence is very good in 5 different areas: self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skill. What you're referring to right there is just a total lack of self-awareness. To think that it's okay to go to a house that you've been invited to and bring someone along that wasn't invited, it just shows a total lack of self-awareness. They're clueless.
Are you allowed to ask if you can bring a guest, or if you're invited, that's just the invitation there? What do you say to that?
I believe you're asked to invite if you can bring somebody, absolutely.
Okay.
But it is about asking in advance, not just showing up like ding dong, hi, meet
Right.
Joe.
Hey, got some friends coming over, and
He's
who
hungry,
knows what'll
too.
happen when they get there. Man. All right. Flashback for me, Eric. I'll tell you that story. All right. How to deal with the person dominating the conversation.
This goes back to my emotional intelligence things, social skill.
Yes.
Some people are just not proficient in social skill. So they come across, the person who's just, every time you take a breath, they come
Yes.
right back at you.
Yes.
Yeah. I call them a no way, wow, yes type person. So the whole conversation's just no way, wow, yes, no way, wow, yes. You just have to go through the whole conversation and gotta go. There's the wine. Where's Lauren's wine? Do some shots. It's a no way, wow, yes. You have to handle some people like that, unfortunately.
I'm going to start doing that. Crystal does this to me. She talks a lot. I'm going to start, no way, wow, yes.
Is that why you said that to me in the green room? You shut me down. I got you.
See?
It's all right.
See, there you go.
I'll retract that invite.
All right, this is one that I think is funny because the way it's stated, but I love it. How do you deal with the overserved guest? And it's the guests that probably overserved themselves.
Cousin Eddie.
Right.
Yeah, here comes the RV, right? It's like, all right. I mean, the overserved people, unfortunately, it comes back to self-regulation, the other emotional intelligence piece I'm talking about. They can't regulate, so they come there and they're just slugging the whole time, and you're like, buddy, slow down. It's like, take me drunk, I'm home, right? So those are the ones, unfortunately, you have to play it by ear as it goes through. As long as they're not offending anybody, upsetting anybody, go with the flow. Off from a bed, obviously don't let them drive. I think that goes without saying.
Ooh, that's the best advice right there. Do not let them drive. We don't want anyone drinking and driving this holiday season.
No.
Well, thank you. Are you having a party? Because I'm going to come over.
You are absolutely invited,
All right,
100%.
here we
Just don't
go.
bring any friends. But
I was going to say, can I bring Crystal?
Crystal, you're invited.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me on.
8:26.